Welcome to Natural Health Talk, your go-to podcast for all things related to holistic wellness, natural remedies, and living a balanced, healthy lifestyle. Be sure to visit our sponsor, TopNaturalHealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in our episodes.
All right, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the world of anti-aging, specifically this thing called Nicotinamide Riboside, or NR for short.
It's certainly a hot topic. And for good reason, I think.
Right. I mean, who doesn't want to know the secret to staying young and healthy? And this whole thing's built on the idea that NR can boost something called NAD, which is like essential for our cells.
Yeah, NAD. It's
But before we get ahead of ourselves, maybe we should take a step back. Define our terms a bit for everyone. What exactly is NAD? Why should we even care if it's decreasing as we age?
okay, so picture your cells like these bustling cities, just like constantly buzzing with activity. Now imagine if the power grid starts to fail. Traffic lights go haywire, hospitals can't function, the whole system, it just falls apart, right? And that's kind of what happens when our NAD levels get all out of whack. This molecule, it's what converts the food we eat into actual usable energy, the stuff that powers our cells.
Okay, so it's the energy source. But I was reading it's more than just keeping the lights on, so to speak.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's way more than that. It's also vital for DNA repair. Big time.
Which we've talked about before on the show, how crucial DNA is.
Absolutely. It's like, think of your DNA as this enormous library of cookbooks.
Cookbooks.
Yeah, cookbooks. But for your body, each gene is like a recipe, right? Instructions for building proteins, regulating hormones, the whole deal.
Okay, I'm with you.
But over time, these recipes, they get damaged. It's like pages getting torn, coffee stains obscuring the instructions. You get the idea.
Life happens. Things get messy.
Exactly. And that's where NAD swoops in. It's like this meticulous librarian constantly scanning for errors, making sure those recipes are accurate and functional. It's pretty amazing.
So NAD, ultimate multitasker.
Yeah.
Powering the cells, keeping our DNA in tip-top shape. No wonder people are calling it a potential key to longevity.
Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty essential stuff. And just like anything else that's essential, maintaining those optimal NAD levels, it just gets more and more crucial as we age.
Which leads us to the heart of this whole deep dive, this NR supplement.
Right, NR.
The article you sent in, it's from TopNaturalHealth.com, and they're all about their product, this GenuinePurity Liposomal NR. They're even doing a promo code, by the way, if anyone wants to look it up later.
Right.
But full disclosure, we are not here to endorse any specific product. We're just here to break it all down, see if the science actually adds up. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I'm all for critical thinking, especially when it comes to this stuff. So
Yeah.
what I asked this NR, how's it supposed to work?
Yeah, good question. So they're claiming this NR is a precursor to NAD. What does that even mean in plain English?
Okay, so imagine this. NAD is the finished cake. Yeah. NR is one of those key ingredients. Our bodies theoretically can take NR, convert it into that precious NAD. We need to keep those cellular cities powered up and those DNA libraries in order.
So it's like we're supplying the ingredients, but our body still has to do the baking.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But does it actually work that way? Is NR living up to the hype?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the honest answer is the science is still, it's still being researched. There are some promising studies out there suggesting that NR supplementation can actually increase NAD levels.
Okay, so there's some hope?
Yeah. Some studies have even shown improvements in, like, energy levels, cognitive function, even the health of our mitochondria, which is super interesting.
Which, again, we've talked about mitochondria before.
Absolutely, yeah. Vital stuff.
Speaking of intriguing research, though, this whole liposomal delivery system they keep mentioning.
Right. Liposomal.
It's like their whole marketing thing. Is that just a fancy way of packaging a supplement, or is there actually something to it?
Okay, so liposomal delivery, it's definitely a buzzword these days.
I feel like every other supplement I see is like liposomal this, liposomal that.
Yeah, it's everywhere. But in theory, encapsulating NR and liposomes, it's like, think of them as tiny little protective bubbles almost. And the idea is those bubbles help the NR survive the harsh environment of our stomachs.
So more of it actually gets where it needs to go.
Exactly. More gets absorbed into the bloodstream.
Okay, so it's like giving it an armored escort to make sure it reaches its destination.
I like that, yeah. Armored escort. But
there's a but coming.
There's always a but, right. While liposomal technology, it has shown promise in some areas of medicine, like delivering certain medications more effectively. The research on its use with NR absorption, it's still inconclusive.
So the jury's still out on that one.
Pretty much.
Classic supplement world, right? Lots of big promises, but the evidence still has some catching up to do.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Which, actually, that brings up a good point. We should probably analyze this source material a bit more closely.
It's like they're holding out this, shiny scientific carrot.
Right.
But not letting us take a bite yet.
Exactly. And that's why we got to be so careful, Critical thinking is key.
Yeah.
Knowledge without action, it's like a car without an engine.
Okay, I like that.
Looks nice,
Yeah.
but it ain't going anywhere.
Not going to get you very far.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get practical then. What are the takeaways here, especially for our listeners who are like, okay, this NIR stuff sounds kind of cool, but I want to be smart about it?
Right. Well, first things first, manage those expectations,
Yeah.
Don't go thinking NR is some magic pill or...
Fountain of youth.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to make you immortal. Think of it more like one piece of the puzzle. You still got to do all the other good stuff. Healthy lifestyle, stress management, all that jazz.
Right, this isn't a free pass to, ditch the gym and live off pizza.
Exactly. It's about being proactive, making those informed decisions about your health.
Informed decisions, for sure. Okay, so what about dosage? If someone's listening and they're like, all right, I want to try this NR thing, what should they know?
Start low and slow. I can't emphasize that enough. Everyone's different, right?
Mhm.
Our bodies all work in unique ways. What works wonders for one person might do absolutely nothing for someone else. So pay attention, listen to your body, see how it responds, and adjust from there.
Your body will definitely tell you if something's off. Right, so we're starting low and slow, listening to our bodies. Anything else people should keep in mind?
Patience. Got to be patient with this stuff. We're talking about potentially changing things at the cellular level here. It's not an overnight miracle.
Right, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. Speaking of marathons, though,
Yeah.
we've been focusing on the potential upside here. The benefits. Are there downsides, risks, things people should watch out for?
Yeah, good point. The article didn't really get into that too much.
Yeah, and honestly, long-term effects of NR supplementation, they're still pretty much unknown. It's a relatively new area of research. We're still figuring out the safety profile, especially with, long-term use. Some studies have shown it's generally well tolerated, even at higher doses. But there have been some reports of mild side effects.
Like what? What kinds of side effects?
Some people experience digestive issues, headaches, fatigue, that kind of thing. Nothing too crazy, but worth noting.
Yeah, definitely something to be aware of. It's all about weighing those potential benefits against the unknowns, right?
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to loop in your doctor. Have that conversation. They can help you figure out your own personal risk factors, make sure there are no weird interactions with any medications you might be on. You want their guidance for sure.
Absolutely. Informed consent, personalized approaches to health. Those are so important. Okay, so back to the source for a sec. TopNaturalHealth.com. They're obviously trying to sell us something here, right?
Right. They've got a product to push.
So how do we be discerning consumers here? What should we be looking out for?
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, This article, it's a decent starting point.
Right.
But do your own digging. Look for info from those reputable sources. Scientific journals, government health websites. The National Institutes of Health is a good one.
Yeah, those guys are usually pretty trustworthy.
Exactly. And, always remember, just because something sounds too good to be true.
Probably is.
Exactly. A little healthy skepticism never hurt anybody.
Especially when it comes to, our health. Okay, so I did want to circle back to something because it really caught my eye earlier. You remember that part about telomeres?
Oh, yeah, that telomeres. That's an interesting one.
For those who don't know, basically telomeres are imagine the little plastic tips on your shoelaces.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. They protect them from fraying. Right. Well, telomeres are kind of like that, but for our DNA strands. And as we age, those telomeres, they get shorter. And that's thought to play a role in, the whole aging process.
Exactly. And that's what makes this whole NR thing so fascinating. It begs the question, could boosting NAD actually have an impact on something as fundamental as telomere length?
It really makes you think, doesn't it? What if we could actually slow down that fraying process?
Right. It's wild to think about. And the research, it's still early, but there have been some studies suggesting that, increasing NAD levels could potentially slow down the rate of telomere shortening.
Okay, no, that's what I'm talking about. That's huge. So not a fountain of youth, but the possibility is there. It makes you wonder what else is hidden within our cells, What other secrets are we going to unlock?
Exactly. It's a whole new world, this cellular level stuff. And we're just starting to peek through the window.
It's like a whole other frontier. Like that saying, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Ain't that the truth? But that's what makes it exciting, right? That sense of wonder. It's what drives us forward.
For sure, for sure. Well, we've gone pretty deep on NR and NAD and this whole telomere thing. Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up this deep dive? What should they take away from all of this?
I'd say be cautiously optimistic. This is cutting-edge stuff. There's a lot of promise, but science takes time. We need those long-term studies to really know what we're dealing with here.
So don't go all in on NR just yet.
Exactly. Don't believe everything you read, and definitely talk to your doctor before you start adding new supplements to your routine.
Solid advice. And as always, it's not just about popping pills, right? It's a whole lifestyle thing.
100%. Nutrition, exercise, stress management, it all plays a role.
Taking care of yourself, the whole package.
Exactly.
All right, well, on that note, I think we've done our deep dive for the day.
We've gone deep.
To all our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of NR and the quest for longevity. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring.
From all of us here at Natural Health Talk, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and don't forget to visit our sponsor, TopNaturalHealth.com, for special promo code pricing on all of the products mentioned in this episode.